from the Crypt.
Hello, boys and ghouls. Welcome to episode 54 of Dads from the Crypt, Tales from the Crypt podcast. My name is Jason. Tonight we're joined by Jody.
Hello.
And Mondo.
Howdy ho.
And we have a special guest. She goes by Xena, and she is the real Queen of Horror. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much. I wanted to say howdy too, but I was like, never mind. I got nervous. So.
you can howdy as much as you want.
Yeah, I never know how to do that at the beginning. I've always said hello, and I just try to throw my goal every week is to throw Jason off. Yeah, and make him stop and think about it.
It's too early in the night for that, but I'm sure by the end you can find some way. But Xena, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes,
if I'm not
absolutely.
We met waiting to talk to Ernest Dickerson at Monsterpalooza. And that's great. I love organically meeting people nowadays for podcasting, because it's always just like sending random emails like, hi, you're cool, come on my podcast. It's so great to actually, because believe it or not, I spent more time in your presence than I have either Mondo or Jody. We've never actually been together in person.
No,
Okay.
not even once. I went to California twice, and Jason just ignored my texts.
I ghosted Mondo.
I just live too far away. I'm in Tennessee. That's a long way from California.
Oh.
Tennessee has too many snakes, so I'm not going.
There are snakes here. Yes, many of them.
So Xena, tell us about yourself and what you got going on.
Yeah, sure. So I'm just a girl. No, I'm kidding. That's so annoying. So I've been blogging or vlogging now for about 11 years. So I started Real Queen of Horror 11 years ago.
Wow.
Because I relocated from New York to Florida, and my husband and we were living in like this really small town, and everything closed at 5, and so I felt so isolated and stuff, and I was away from my family, so I kind of wanted to start doing some stuff for myself, because people who I was meeting, they were really cool, but no one liked horror like at all.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of me just keep on, nagging them and talking about it my husband, he has to listen. It's too late. You said I do. So, so yeah, it all started way back then. It was just kind of like a hobby. I just wanted to write about horror movies because I was just watching them anyway, and then it just transformed into this whole new world. So currently I'm one of the co-hosts of the Bloody Disgusting podcast.
Highly recommended, by the way.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Yay. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. I love to give people recommendations. So that's something that if you like recommendations and stuff, because you know how it is. Sometimes there's just so much content.
Yeah.
Like it's exhausting.
Yeah, now more than ever, there's so much streaming.
It's crazy. And I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but especially like this month alone, geez. Like I'm all for it though, but oh my gosh. But yeah, so I'm just one of the co-hosts on there as well. And I'm a producer for Mental Health and Horror.
Awesome. We love
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Barkan.
Yeah, we've had him on twice on our show. So we're really excited. Speaking of which, is there an update on that project?
We actually will have some updates very, very soon. I can't say, but it's freaking awesome. So
we can't
just keep a lookout.
We can't wait to watch that, because there's so many great people that we know that have been on that show, interviewed for that. Our friend Natalie, who was on our our friend Natalie who's on our Demon Night episode. She's going to be on there too.
Yeah. So we're just really excited about what's to come. So you guys keep a lookout for that. But
that's awesome.
Awesome.
Deep down, I'm just a girl who loves horror.
That's so great. And as a horror fan, what was your first exposure to Tales from the Crypt?
Oh my gosh. So my mom's a huge horror fan. And
Nice.
so
That's cool.
she would just watch it. And there was just something about that, like the theme song. It was like my lullaby at night, And I know we all have our stories of how we even started watching horror movies, but even with this show, it's kind of like similar to like my horror movie story. So because my mom's like a huge horror fan, whenever we would go to a video store, God, I miss video stores. She'd pick out some movies and stuff like that. So I'm like the youngest of 6, right?
Wow.
And people forget about me. But because of that, I wasn't really allowed to pick out any movies, So my mom, I guess one day she decided to like quote unquote break the rules. And I remember picking out, I think I picked out this movie called Spellcaster, but I don't know. That's a different story for a different time. But with this movie, with this series, like she's a huge fan. She would always watch it all the time. And just the music alone locked me in as a kid. I was hooked. I wasn't too sure what to expect. I thought it was going to be more of a comedic tone, like more humorous, because the Crypt Keeper, but surprise, it still has that tone, but for a little kid, it's just kind of like, there's always some type of dark lesson that people learn in this one.
When you were young, did your mom kind of just let you watch whatever horror you wanted, or was she selective on what you could watch?
No, she would let me watch whatever. Like,
yeah, my mom was the same. I still remember I've told the story about walking in her watching Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and her being like, cool, you're 4, you can handle this. But I still remember I was still living in Virginia, so I was 5 or 6 when she rented RoboCop. We watched RoboCop together, and I was like, this is all stuff you shouldn't be watching at that age, but hey, I turned out not okay, so it's fine.
We're fine.
Do you have a favorite episode?
Okay, I knew that you guys were going to ask me this, and I was like, I'm going to look it up, the title, but I don't remember the title. So there's 2 that comes to mind that like haunts my life. It's the one with Demi Moore. She's in this one. And, okay, first off, she was not so nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And she kind of deserved it, but I was just thinking to myself, like, I'm not like her, but if that if that were me, first off, I wouldn't even go back home. Like, who needs those clothes? So, but yeah, I just remember seeing that as a kid, and it kind of just stuck with me because I always did like Demi Moore, but then the fact that we were just like, at first, you didn't really understand that she was not so great, until like obviously like the end. Like you thought maybe something. I mean, in my heart, I just felt like, well, maybe she'll change, but clearly she didn't.
That was season 2, episode 1, Dead Right.
Whoa, you're so cool.
I know.
Jason is so organized. It makes me jealous.
I have them on the spread. It's on my spreadsheet.
Okay, that's fancy. I want a spreadsheet. But yeah, I love that one. And I also love, I don't know the title of this one, so I'm sure you guys would know this as well. So there was a teenage boy, and I think it's maybe his uncle or his grandpa, and his grandpa was just mean, and he liked to play basketball. Spoiler. Yeah, the boy gets killed, and then he like chops his legs off or something. It's just like, what? That was insane.
So that one is Fitting Punishment. It was directed by Jack Shoulder, who also directed Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Whoa!
And not to plug it, I did an interview with him about that episode in his career.
That's awesome.
So check that one out.
Yeah, I watched that one with my daughter not long ago. She said it was probably her favorite.
She has a great taste.
Yeah, she does.
I mean, look at her dad, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a compliment, Jody. I mean,
I'll take it.
Okay.
I'm raising a weird kid because she has a weird dad. It's just a thing.
I would say Jody's one of the few people I can watch a movie and be like, man, most people are going to hate that. I bet Jody's going to love this too.
Sometimes that happens to me too. Like, I was at one point I was even going to put out a tweet, but I'm like, I'm not choosing violence today because I don't want people to come after me. But I just always find like whenever there's a movie that I like really love, and I'm like, oh my God, for sure everyone's gonna love it, and then people is just like, wow, I hated it, or I had to cut it off 3 minutes in, and it's just like,
I figure no matter how bad a movie is, there's someone out there whose favorite movie.
Let's be honest. Also on social media, I know, Zenny, you have a pretty big social media presence. No matter what you say, someone will find a way to disagree with you. You could say water is amazing and we need it for life, and someone would be like, actually, just to disagree.
All
social
right.
media is terrible.
Yeah. Follow us, please.
On social media.
Except present company. Well, I will say this: the good part about Twitter is you can block keywords. So my Twitter is a constant feed of mostly positivity about horror, pro wrestling, and like 49ers football. So
that's awesome.
I'm just proud I almost got Manda to do a spit take.
You almost did. I almost spent all of my computer.
Need to make that a GIF. All right. Before we get into our episode tonight, we do have a very big announcement. It turns out that Only Dads was taken, unfortunately. So Dads from the Crypt have crossed over to Patreon. So now, for as little as $1, you can join and just be a supporter and show us some love, and you'll get your name read off and a thank you from us on the show. At the higher tiers, you will also get access to a video of our monthly movie watch along that we'll post. You can watch along with the video. And then we're also going to start to do mini reviews of the Tales from the Crypt Keeper cartoon series. Not full episodes, but more short ones with some special guests, we'll say, very near and dear to our hearts. You can find our page by searching for Dads from the Crypt on the Patreon site. And as always, we're grateful for everyone's support.
Yeah, I'm not going to beg anybody to sign up and give us money, but I'm one step away from eating Soylent Green for 3 meals a day. So please sign up.
Maybe we'll have $1,000 tier for a feet pic.
I mean, I'm not that expensive. Like a couple hundred.
Yeah. It's a deal.
All right. Now that we've sold out completely, let's talk about tonight's episode. We're talking about Curiosity Killed, which came out on September 16th, 1992. Oh, real quick, I just realized today is August the 16th, is also the anniversary of Bordello of Blood coming out. So happy birthday.
Oh.
Hey, happy birthday. I just rewatched that one this past weekend.
Oh, nice. Have you listened to our miniseries about that?
Oh my God, why are you putting me on the spot?
Just saying, we got a great miniseries about the making of that movie with the producer, director, and writers, and it's a great time. And if you don't tear up by the end of this, then you don't have a heart. That's all I'm going to say.
What did you think of Dennis Miller in Bordello of Blood?
See, that was, I guess that was when I first watched it as a kid. Okay, well, first taking a step back, my mom let me watch that as a kid. But I'm fine. So I didn't know that he was like, Dennis Miller. I didn't know that he was a big deal. Going back and seeing that now, to me, it's just so crazy. I've never seen him. I'm not saying he's wholesome, but he's kind of sleazy,
Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah.
So it's just weird seeing him in that light, because he looks like he could be like someone's nice grandpa or something, I don't know.
And then you watch him in that, then you realize that no one wanted to work with him and everyone hated him on the set.
Well, you also realize he's not acting.
Oh, okay, yeah, I have to listen.
Yeah. He's kind of like the Glenn. If he was a professional wrestler, he'd be right there with Glenn Jacobs as far as like.
That's bad. All right, now that we've gone off the rails already, let's talk about tonight's episode, September 16th, 1992, Curiosity Killed. Jody, give us a plot synopsis.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say the Crypt Keeper segments on this one were confusing to me because they got nothing to do with anything else that happens in this episode. It's going to be a theme. The Crypt Keeper skydives in without a parachute and hits the ground, and that's it. That's pretty much his whole thing. And then we're introduced to our story. 2 elderly couples are spending the weekend camping in the woods together. First couple is Jack and Cynthia. They are constantly bickering and annoying each other. And when I say constantly, I mean like screaming, yelling fights all the time. There is one thing that Cynthia said that I was like, okay, I can get behind this. At one point she yelled, "I'm an indoors girl." And I'm like, okay, yes, I am an inside boy. I can connect with this.
If I can say this, when we were at that metal fest in the wilderness, I really wanted to camp on site, but my wife's never been camping before. And I'm so glad I got a cabin, because I realized I'm also an inside guy, because it was climate control. There was no bugs. It was great.
Yeah. And then you got the other couple, this Harry and Lucille, and they seem to be pretty chill and happy together. And Harry says that this trip is a chance to pay Jack back for saving his life during the war. I don't know which war. They don't really get into it, but the war.
The war.
Lucille is making some kind of something with some stinky herbs that are kind of smelling up the place. And Cynthia's just complaining about everything that everyone... She really is exhausting. I can understand why she and Jack fight all the time, because she's just complaining about everything that happens.
Like, to her credit, she didn't want to be there in the first place.
She didn't want to be there, but if you don't want to go out in the woods, don't go out in the woods. Just stay home. No one's making you. All right. And there's also a dog. And that's important to mention. I think he's a Rottweiler. This is the only time I'll mention him until later. But it's important. Anyway, Cynthia insults Jack's manhood at one point in front of his friends, and he gets all upset and goes inside to drink some vodka. And Harry stops him and says, "If you drink that, it's going to mess everything up. You know, we have this whole plan." And Cynthia overhears this. She gets suspicious. The two men go out to dig a hole in the swamp, while Cynthia kind of sits around feeling sorry for herself. And eventually she goes to spy on the men and sees them dig up the skeleton of Harry's first wife. And from what she gathers, she thinks that they're planning to kill the two women. She runs back to the camp. And meanwhile, the men they pull the skull out, and there's some bulbs in the mouth, and they start growing these plants out of the bulbs like instantly in the moonlight. Cynthia and Jack kind of end up back together, and Jack dances around singing "Ghoulie, Ghoulie, Ghoulie" a lot, like a bunch of times, like it's a thing, but apparently it's his thing. Cynthia, there's so many people. Like, this is a lot of people for a Tales from the Crypt episode.
Not compared to last week, but
yeah, true. But for many episodes, the fact that I have to keep up with 4 characters is more than I'm used to. Okay, so Lucille takes the plants along with the herbs she's been cooking up, and she goes inside with the men, and Cynthia stays outside because they think they're killing Lucille because she makes like this loud like cry. And she locks herself in the camper and falls asleep in there. When she wakes up, she sees the men walking by and follows them back to the grave where they're getting more of those moon plants. And then she finds out they're all younger. Like, they have visibly reduced in age from the potion that Cynthia had, or that Lucille had made. They all need a second dose of it, but it's already working. And the men sing that Ghoulie Ghoulie song again. And they talk about making Cynthia young too, except for Jack doesn't want her to. He said, "I've already served my time with you for 45 years, and so you don't get to be young again. You have to stay old." And so she runs back to camp before the rest of them get there, and she takes some of that potion, because you have to mix that with the flour, they find out. And she takes some of that and puts it in a bottle and then pours vodka into the rest of that mixture. So when Jack, Harry, and Lucille come back to the camp, they mix the plant in and drink it. And then that's when Cynthia reveals she put the vodka in, and it messed everything up. It makes them age rapidly. Like, Jack's face like swells up like a pumpkin at one point. It's really wide. And then they get really old and turn into skeletons and then just like crumble into dust. And so then Cynthia takes her little bottle of the plant and she puts the flour in there, drinks it, and she kind of it hurts going down. So she drops it, and the dog comes back and he drinks a little bit of it. And then we find out that she like instantly becomes young. It's Margot Kidder. I would have never known that. Like, the old people makeup is so good. I would have known that it was Margot Kidder. Anyway, she gets young. She kind of dances around. And then all of a sudden, that dog, who has just kind of been in the background, breaks free of its tie and attacks her and kills her. Like, Deus Ex Machina right there. Deus Ex Machina. Then 2 hikers stumble on the camp. They find the dog, who is now a little puppy. Camera pans over to the side to Cynthia's bloody, torn apart corpse. Very much in the Tales from the Crypt comic vein of the last scene being like the gruesome one. And that's that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh,
George.
wait. I have to tell you. And then the Crypt Keeper is a Boy Scout. Again, I have no idea. Why is the Crypt Keeper a Boy Scout? Why is the Crypt Keeper parachuting? I don't know. It had nothing to do with this episode, but he's doing his thing.
Outdoor stuff, you know. All right. Thank you, Jody. So, Xena, you're our guest, so well, you can start us off. What did you think of this episode?
So overall, I really liked the episode. I didn't like Cynthia. I feel like she's a Karen, and I hated her pants. And because I don't know, why would you wear that in the woods? Like you know, we all mentioned this in some ways, being indoors and stuff. There's no mosquitoes or crazy bears wanting to eat your eyeballs while you sleep. But she was just complaining the whole time, and kind of like what Jody said, where it's just like, girl, why? I mean, you didn't say girl, but she could just stay home. She could have just stayed home.
Real fast, bears don't eat eyeballs. They only want your picnic baskets.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. But yeah, like, I don't know. It just seems she was just very miserable, and it was kind of like this distracting where it's just like I was just rooting against her the whole time. And when the ending happened with the dog, I was just like, well, because just at this point you kind of deserved it.
Yeah. All right, Jody.
Yeah, so this is one I rarely get the chance to watch an episode twice and actually like take it in the first time and then do all the notes and everything the second time. When I watched this the first time a couple nights ago, I wasn't really big on this episode. I didn't think that had a lot going for it for whatever reason. It just didn't. It's probably that Cynthia was so unpleasant and she was the protagonist of this one, But out on a rewatch, there's a lot of fun in this. Like the characters have some fun with it. Really, the makeup is a big thing in this one. The old age makeup, the rotting makeup, the corpse at the end. Like, there's a lot of good stuff happening in this one. Not a lot of plot. Like, it's just they go out in the woods, they find the thing, and they get young and die. Okay. I don't have anyone to root for here, but I enjoyed it quite a bit, I think, in the end.
All right, Mondo.
I'm probably going to be a little bit more negative on this because, as Jody just said, when I don't have someone to root for, I find that it kind of just takes me out of the episode, where I'm just kind of like, can we just get to the end where all of you people who I don't like are dead? And and I really didn't like it. I mean, and granted, this is not a knock on. I thought Margot Kidder was actually phenomenal in this.
She's great.
And
Yeah.
I've always said I think she was probably in her early 40s, maybe in this.
Yeah, I just did all the math on how old everybody was.
But I think it's still like really brave for an actress in that era to don the old makeup, the old person makeup, and do a role, because, like, as we always know, like, Hollywood's shallow as all hell. And not to be confused with Shallow Hal, but Hollywood is shallow as all hell. And I was kind of thinking, like, man, it's pretty brave, because the last thing you want is for a director to see you in that old makeup and just dismiss you because you're now 42, which, let's be honest, Hollywood views as old because it's run by old rich men that suck. So I thought that was really cool, but overall, like, I wasn't a big fan of it, and I did make a big mistake in that I watched it like you did. I watched it the first time, and I was kind of middle of the road, and then I watched it again last night after the series finale of Better Call Saul, which is probably not a good idea because I was still emotionally wrecked from that, and it just kind of wasn't my thing. But if there is a protagonist in this episode, it's the dog. Let's just be honest. It's the dog. At the end of the day, the dog gets a bone, and that's okay. Like, he's a happy little pup. Turns out to be a puppy, gets to relive his life. Like, fuck yeah, it's a good dog. But the one part I do have to call shenanigans on is when they're mixing the potion, she pours like 3/4 of a bottle of vodka. There's no way you wouldn't have smelled that.
Right.
And also, they're pouring liquid from this boiling pot into a cup and just taking swigs of it. Like, for some reason that bugged me. I'm like, dude, there's no way you wouldn't notice the gallon of cheap vodka in this potion. But yeah, not a terrible episode, don't get me wrong. But for me, very I guess mundane is a good word. It's a good word. But like you said, the makeup to make these actors and actresses look old was fantastic. I hated the cheap Michaels flowers they were using. Looked like they were like feather dusters. That took me out of it a little bit. I'm like, come on, dude, like, go pick your neighbor's flowers or something, and that would make it a little bit better. And then I think that they've done a couple episodes based on age and beauty that actually had kind of a message behind it, like about how we view beauty as more important a lot of times than internal beauty, where this one was just a bunch of shallow ass people wanting to look young again. And why could he not have made Cynthia young again, and just they could have gotten divorced, both been young and been happy? That'd have been okay, right?
I mean, in the end, it is all kind of his fault, right?
Yeah, at the end, like, he could have said, nah, just be young, we'll divorce, we'll go do our thing, and
we both get a fresh start.
But
yeah, whatever.
She was terrible. I'm sorry. She was terrible.
She was terrible.
Did the same thing, and I would have been flaunting that I'm young again and screaming it out every second.
but that's the thing. He could have made her young, divorced her, let her go do everything. He never even had to see her again. They could have both moved to different states.
Yeah.
But she was like the way she's trying to emasculate him, and like, it's one of those things where this is not to get off topic, but have you ever had like been in that weird situation where like you're somewhere and you have a couple, a friends or their couples, and they start fighting,
Mhm.
but they're not just like fighting; they start saying shit that like, and I would say like if my friend said that to me, we wouldn't be friends anymore.
Right.
And they start saying that kind of shit
Mean
to each
stuff.
other. And if you're in a relationship and you guys are saying that stuff to each other, sit down and have a real conversation about it, because that's
Yeah.
shit. Like the stuff she was saying to him and he was saying back. I'm like, ooh, like that's some deal breaking stuff there that you just that you shouldn't say to anybody you care about. Period.
Yeah.
Be it a lover, a friend, an acquaintance. Even you shouldn't say that stuff too. So, is that Zini? You're right. Like she sucked, and they all kind of sucked in this.
I mean, even the good guy was a murderer, right? Like he killed his first wife and buried her in a swamp.
Yeah, and they were kind of
That was like the nice
nonchalant.
couple. That was the nice couple.
Like I love you guys, but if we went to hang out for the first time or we went camping together, and you're gonna show me the swamp where you killed your ex-wife, I'm gonna have some questions. Like I'm not just gonna be okay with it.
Well,
It's not just
now
it's
you
not
know
just
why-
going to the swamp, it's digging up the corpse. Hey, you
Yeah.
want a big
Well, Mondo, now you know why I keep ghosting you.
Hey man, like we'll get there eventually, Jason. It's cool.
I actually really liked this episode. Yeah, the first 5 minutes were really off-putting with the bickering. It kind of reminded me of Collection Completed, which I don't like much either. The one where the husband gets retires, has to spend all day with his wife, and she's just wackadoo. But I don't know. I just kind of seeing Margot Kidder playing an old woman, and the makeup effect is so good. Once I realized that was Margot Kidder, so I was expecting her to show up later.
Mhm.
Once I just kind of bought into that performance, and I just thought it was so over the top. It was campy almost.
And that might have been why I enjoyed it more the second time, because the second time I watched it, I'm watching Margot Kidder in makeup. The first
like-
time, I honestly had no idea that was her.
Yeah, I grew up on those 70s Superman movies. So
yeah.
like to me that was just kind of catnip. And then I don't know, I kind of went like back and forth because I was trying to figure out what was going to happen, and I was like, oh, are they trying to screw her over? Is she trying to screw them over? It kind of kept going back and forth, and I was just kind of, and then it's just an episode that built up momentum actually as it went on, and the ending is just so damn good. There's so many effects being thrown at you all at once. I just kind of love that. And I don't know, this episode really hit well with me. And again, Margot Kidder, she's also, I always forget that, she's in Black Christmas and the Amityville Horror, the original, Superman 1, 2, and 3, and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So it's just so cool that she's just like very rest in peace to her, but she was this kind of very underrated horror personality.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I ever got the recognition she deserved with that. This episode was directed, not by Steve Perry. I need to update that. By Elliot Silverstein. He also directed Reluctant Vampire, another really good episode, the one with Malcolm McDowell. He also directed 4 episodes of the original Twilight Zone, and directed Cat Ballou. Jack is played by Kevin McCarthy, who again I think gives a really good performance, and he's another kind of underrated horror guy. He was in Death of a Salesman in 1951. He was in the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. He was in Joe Dante's Piranha, Joe Dante's The Howling, Twilight Zone the movie, Inner Space, and Ghoulies Go to College. So he's got a great horror pedigree.
Nice.
And I know you're listing all his horror cred, but when I think of Kevin McCarthy, I think of UHF. Like that 100%. He's the bad station owner. Like that's my bread and butter out
I
there.
respect that.
And then J.A. Preston. Again, we don't usually get this much representation in Tales from the Crypt episodes, so that was really nice to see. He plays Harry. He was in Hill Street Blues, Dallas, and he was the judge from A Few Good Men. That's where I recognized him the most. And then Lucille is played by Madge Sinclair, who was in Roots, Coming to America, and she was the voice of Simba's mother in The Lion King.
Wow.
So as opposed to the last episode, which had way too many great actors, this one was a much more compact. It was pretty much one set. I don't know. It just kind of scratched a good itch for me, and I really enjoyed that. Again, it reminded me a little bit of Collection Completed and Dead Weight, the one with Whoopi Goldberg, which had some questionable voodoo stuff in it. This one did that too, but I think it just did a bit better.
It did it without bringing the actual like voodoo religion into it. It was more
Mhm.
so just kind of they kind of brushed by
The
that. They
potion.
didn't-
Yeah.
they didn't bring that
Scratching
into
the
it.
surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This was a very enjoyable episode. I like good performances. I love good effects, and it all just kind of came together at the end. And that very gory shot of Margot Killer just like mutilated by a dog and this cute little puppy. It was really funny.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Something else I was gonna say. What was it?
I don't know. It's you have to.
I lost it. I'll come back to me. Keep going.
It's great radio.
I know. This is true podcasting.
You're usually so organized and on the button, so I'm
I recorded another podcast earlier today, so my brain's all over the place.
I'm pretty taken back by your disorganization, Jason. Maybe you can get
It
together
came
for the
to me.
next episode.
It came to me. So when I first watched it, I couldn't figure out how she knew the vodka was going to mess up everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to Jody's synopsis, you would know.
Yes. Now, once Jody spelled it out for me, I just figured she just assumed that alcohol would mess up the potion.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just thought it was just a leap in logic, but okay. But I thought when the guy came in to stop him, it was because he was an alcoholic.
Yeah,
I thought that's why.
I thought at that first scene too.
But now that Jody laid it out, that makes much more sense. So I give the episode even more credit for that.
Yeah, it again on the second watch, it everything is foreshadowed pretty well as to where it's going with it, and it really does do that double cross back, and like everyone's double crossing each other by the end of it, and I do like that. While I say there's nobody to really root for in this one, it's also kind of fun to have an episode where you just root for all the bad characters to die too. Like it's nice when they all suck and they're all going to get their punishment by the end, except for the dog who didn't do anything wrong.
And all the punishments are so satisfying.
Yeah, I'll give it that. And I will say at the very end with the two backpackers that come in, she was definitely the protagonist because she's like, I'm tired, let's pitch camp. And he's like, no, we're going to find the perfect spot to see the sunrise, even though it's pitch black in the forest. And I'm like, come on, dude, this is how you die in a Friday the 13th movie. Like, just
who's still hiking at night and pitching their tent in the middle of the night? You do that before it gets dark.
Right.
I thought that they were trying to, like those new campers, that the guy was trying to find that voodoo stuff too. Like, I don't know at first.
Yeah, I thought they were going to tie in to it. But yeah, they definitely look like they walked off of like Friday 6 or something.
Also, a question. Okay, did the dog not like Cynthia because, like, I mean, because she was terrible, but like, I mean, he just really didn't like her.
I think the idea was because she looked young, she looked so different that the dog didn't recognize her.
Well, but he hated her when she was old too.
Okay. Oh, really?
He was growling at her and barking at her one time.
I didn't catch that because it's kind of weird. As a dog cares more about your scent than your appearance. They don't give a shit what you look like. They just want to be able to smell you.
Yeah, I think
maybe she
a bad vibe.
Maybe she was not just mean. She smelled off to dogs.
It could be.
I don't know.
That could be. She had that weird, like, old person Metamucil smell. I don't know.
All right, Jody, give us a comic comparison.
All right, so this one's wild. I'll tell you that. This comes from Tales from the Crypt, number 36, June 1953. Script by Bill Gaines and Al Feldstein. So again, they're bringing out the big dogs for the script here. Art by George Evans. This comic has almost nothing at all to do with this episode. Like, barely scratching the surface of any connection at all. I honestly had to check 2 or 3 times to make sure I wasn't reading the wrong comic. So basically, the only connection is in it. There's a woman who thinks her neighbor's husband has killed her, but she doesn't have proof. So there's suspicion, there's curiosity, thinking that someone's gotten killed. That's it. Like in the show, Cynthia's suspicious that they're going to kill her. In the comic, this woman notices that her friend, who is also her neighbor, isn't showing up anymore. And she thinks that her husband has killed her, but she doesn't have any proof because there's no body that's been seen. Like, she hasn't gone into the apartment, so she hasn't seen what might be in there. And he hasn't tried to move the body downstairs. She notices that he brings a shoebox home with him every day and then he leaves in the morning without one. So she's got this curiosity. She's watching him. Okay, this is where it gets wild.
This guy's Al Bundy.
just wait. This is one of the weirdest plots. She finds out that there's a homing pigeon in the shoebox. So every day he brings home a pigeon in the shoebox, and he takes a small piece of his dead wife and puts it in a can and ties it to the pigeon's leg, and then lets the pigeon go. And then later he drives to where the pigeon is, which is this shack in the woods, and he dumps out the contents of the can and feeds it to a bunch of hungry dogs.
Whoa.
And he's been doing this for 2 months, just like one little chunk at a time. Takes a pinky, puts it in a can, sends it to pigeon. 2 months of this body sitting in the house, by the way. I don't know what they're doing.
It's just reminds like Andy. That reminds like Andy Dufresne slowly taking out rocks into the yard.
I really hope some like conspiracy theory assholes listening right now going, that can't be real because pigeons are robots.
Right. There's no birds.
Birds aren't real.
You know, if birds aren't real, can they stop eating my fucking grass seed? I'm just saying.
And so she finds all this out, and the comic ends with her husband walking in with a shoebox, and she hears a cooing sound coming from the shoebox because she's next.
Oh my god!
I'm really sad that I didn't read the comic before this episode because Jody's almost in. You guys can't see this, but Jody's almost in tears.
So like I said, it had nothing to do with this episode, and so I was confused. But then when I found out what was going on, I'm like, Tales from the Crypt does some crazy stuff, but this is by far the weirdest plot that I've ever. He gets a pigeon every day. Where are all the pigeons coming from?
Also, for any YouTube viewers, Jody, did you rearrange your skeletons on your door?
Yes, it did.
Okay, I don't remember that one skeleton kicking the other one in the dick, so I was just making sure that
they've been dancing. They do yoga now. They're fighting.
Well, the one guy's kicking the dick, and the guy's going ah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I absolutely love it.
The comic was no real macaw.
No,
it was not a real. It was not the real macaw.
No. So anyway, I don't know how they got from that comic to this episode. I think they just stole the name. I think that's it.
Yeah, that was their mandate. They can do anything they can do anything they want, but they have to use the name of a comic every episode.
Sure. Well, somebody came up with an idea about old people in the woods getting young, and then they were like, let's just flip through the Tales from the Crypt catalog until we find something that vaguely relates. Because Curiosity Killed, honestly, not a great name for this episode either, because it's not all that about curiosity. A little bit. Not much.
I'm not gonna lie. When I jumped on the calendar today to start recording with you guys, I was like, Curiosity Killed. Did I watch the wrong fucking episode?
Yeah. So the title makes no sense. The comic makes no connection. It's wild, but yeah, I enjoyed both of them just for the ridiculousness of the comic. But the episode was pretty good too.
Yeah, looking at the screen read to see what he did, and nothing really of any like All in the Family.
Jason, I'm just gonna say it's on air, but your voice is really weird when you come in. Are you muting your microphone or anything like that?
No, I'm replacing this microphone. I got a warranty on it.
Yeah, so, if anybody hears this, and we have some weird stuff with Jason's voice, his Yeti mic has bit the dust.
All right,
it's okay.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Jody. Let's do our episode ranking. So Xena, we do 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. You can do half points. What would you rate this episode?
I'm gonna give it a 3 because I did have like a lot of fun with it. And I love drama, so I'll stick with a 3.
All right, Jody.
Yeah, I also am gonna go with a 3 for this one. Nowhere near the worst, but also not the best either. There's some fun moments, but it's not going to be one that I revisit a lot.
Armando.
As much as I bash it, I'm just a little bit lower at 2.5. I don't think it was a terrible episode. There's a lot of good stuff to pull out of this. Like I said, the makeup effects and Margot Kidder just being amazing. But again, I think it's kind of towards the lower tier of Tales episodes. So 2.5 for me.
I'm flipping it around. I'm giving this one a 4. I don't know. It just, I don't know if it was just I was in the right mood for it or what, but I just really like this episode. Great effects, great over the top performance, always makes for a good time.
To our listener, Tommy.
This was a
See,
Todd
Tommy?
Masters effects episode, by the way.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you got the big guy out there. for this one.
Real fast for our listener, Tommy. See, Jason does like Tales from the Crypt.
He
I
does.
do. Turns out, yes, I do like the show that we do a podcast on. Who would have known?
that you started and spearheaded and made spreadsheets about. So
I blood, sweat, and tears into. Yeah, I ignore my kids for it. It's all right. Just kidding, mostly. All right. Now we're gonna have a word from our Uncle Al. All right, welcome back, Mondo. Have you found the song of the day for us? I know you're struggling.
I figured it out.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to go just the easy route and just pick a song about aging or old people, but I did, but I didn't. So there's a band from Sweden by the name Hypocrisy. Peter, his name is like spelled like Tactigren, but I think it's pronounced like Tatren, because he's Swedish. And he was this iconic producer, produced all kinds of great records. Like if you listen to any early death metal albums, Amon Amarth, who are pretty popular now, they used to be produced by him. He had a studio that just was churning out these great death metal releases, and he fell in love with being a producer. He did a band called Pain, which was more of a techno, like electronic band. And then for any of our Rammstein fans out there, not my personal cup of tea, but he played with what's the guy's name? Linderman, one of the main members of Rammstein. They actually had a solo record called Lindemann, and Peter Tactigren was his creative partner on that, which was a little bit heavier. He was a vocalist for the band Bloodbath, done a ton of work. His side project Lockup was fantastic too, but Hypocrisy is always kind of his main band. They've been around since the early 90s and have gone through a lot of changes, but they're really into space exploration. Like their most popular song of all time was called Roswell 47, about the Roswell crash. And this song is about alien life and aliens coming into the world. But there's a line in the song that when we're talking earlier kind of hit me in the head, or towards the end. He's talking about how he wishes aliens would just land and obliterate us because we suck. So the line is I wish they would land here. It's too late now. Time is dying. I told you, we've fallen to our own decay. And I think it kind of fits with the episode, being that you have these people who are so obsessed with youth that they fell to their own decay. Nice. They fell to almost their own hubris. So I thought that line was kind of fitting. And it's also one of my favorite songs of all time, A Coming Race, off the album The Final Chapter by the band Hypocrisy. Just great early Swedish death metal. And I think they put a new record out a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. That was also really, really good. So check them out, give them a listen. And I think if you're into the heavier side of music, you will enjoy that.
Thank you, Mondo. I had no idea where you're going with that one, and you landed it as always. Props.
Hey, man, like I can't remember, fucking what I ate for dinner last night, but I can remember this kind of shit, so it's okay.
That's more important. All right, and then let's move on to Mr. Jody for some trivia.
All right, so I have no trivia. Let's just go on with that. Since I don't have any trivia, though, and we are called Dads from the Crypt, I thought I'd just give you some dad jokes,
Okay.
Keep the mood light.
Everyone feel free to jump in with their own dad jokes.
Really, the thing is, last night we were recording a little promo thing, and I told one of my favorite dad jokes, and I just want to tell it again. And I got some other ones I looked up too. All right. So there is a man who has died. It's his funeral. And a man comes up to the widow and he says, hey, can I say a word? She said, yeah, that'd be nice. So he goes up to the podium and leans into the mic and says, plethora. Then he steps down and the widow comes up to him and says, thank you. That means a lot. Means a lot, plethora.
Hey, Jody.
Yes.
Do you know why koala bears aren't actually bears?
I do not.
They don't meet all the qualifications.
Very nice. This is one my kids have always loved. What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef.
Oh.
What do you call a pig that does karate? Pork chop.
Oh, God. Okay.
Pork Chop Express.
Okay, got two more. What do you call a dog that can do magic? A labracadabrador. See? I got you with that one. All right, last one. How do you follow Will Smith in the snow?
Oh no.
Talk shit about his wife.
No, you just follow the Fresh Prince.
Ah!
Oh.
All right, that one.
There you
that
go.
one was that one.
I have no
landed.
trivia. I just have that. That's it. That's my contribution now.
Oh,
No,
that one
that'd be
landed.
great. We all use a good laugh.
So I don't know if I told you guys this, but last week I applied to be a waiter at a restaurant, and they asked me. I went to the interview, and I said, "I don't know what you guys are looking for here, but I can bring a lot to the table."
Very nice.
All right.
Jason is having the proper reaction to all these
Jason, what do you-
jokes.
what do
Kind
you-
of
what
a
do you-
moan.
Jason, what do you got, dude? You got to have one, right?
I have a dad joke, but this is my favorite joke. What do you get when you cross a agnostic, dyslexic, and a insomniac?
I don't know.
Someone who stays up all night wondering if there's a dog.
Okay, that's a all right.
nice.
That's a
That's
good
very
one. I once mentioned that when I was back in the day when I played World of the Warcraft, because I'm a fucking nerd. We had a guild on our server called Dyslexics Untie,
Yeah.
and that's pretty brilliant.
Zena, do you have any good jokes?
Well, I guess kind of, but okay. So, I was addicted to like the hokey pokey, right? But I turned
Man,
myself around.
That's a great opener.
Nice.
Yeah, that's sort of cute.
Oh, it's good stuff. All right. And then for our dad advice, we thought we'd reach out to our wonderful followers and listeners and ask them what they'd like to know about. So thank you for everyone who submitted. Mondo, do you get them ready for us?
Oh, I did, but then I pressed the little X on the computer that you're not supposed to press, and then things went away. But I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a couple of our friends from BJ Slack asked a good question, which is, if Tales from the Crypt was to be made now, who would you like to see direct an episode?
Ooh, that's a good
And
question.
actually, I'm going to answer first because someone immediately named the first person I would think of, which is Jordan Peele.
Yeah,
Oh,
didn't he do something? It wasn't
Twilight
Was
Zone.
it Twilight Zone?
He was a
Okay.
producer.
But I think we're in that he had to take things a little bit more seriously. This would get him room. Like the beauty of Tales from the Crypt was kind of like the clean slate, right? The open, like just do what you want to do, and if it's whatever the fuck it is, we'll put it up there. And I think working those without those constraints, I think he'd do fantastic.
All right, I got one. John Waters.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
He do something interesting. Everything he does is
Yeah,
interesting.
no, he would definitely be interesting.
But I
It'd be
want him to
weird.
I want to do a musical episode.
All right. I'm thinking Guillermo del Toro.
Ooh.
He's got some playfulness to him that I think he could do something that was equal parts silly and have some scariness to it too.
I still say Nightmare Alley was essentially a Tales from the Crypt episode.
I still haven't seen that. I need to watch
Me
it.
either.
Oh,
I
really?
still haven't. It's been on my list.
Yeah, you guys should watch it because it's long, but it's definitely got Tales from the Crypt
Yeah,
vibes.
It had that vibe. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Xena, do you have someone you'd throw in the ring?
I do. Two immediately came to mind.
Mhm.
First one, David Bruckner. I would love
Yes.
to
Oh.
see him.
Wow, that's a great one.
Yes. I just know it would be everything. And then I guess
Xena, have you seen or heard anything about the new Hellraiser yet?
no, I haven't.
Okay.
But at this point, it doesn't really matter because I'm still going to watch it.
Well,
Like,
yeah, of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm already sold on it. Like,
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
geez. And then the other one, I guess, still could be more playful. McG, who directed The Babysitter. So it could
I
be,
love the
Yeah.
babysitter.
yeah, it could be bloody fun.
Yeah. Another one that just came to my mind, he's not having a great year, is Ty West.
Oh yeah.
It would be like 26 minutes of just weird sounds, and then I like Ty West, I do. So it's just and someone brought up Rob Zombie, and you want to know what? If someone else wrote the episode, I'd say yeah, let him have a crack at it.
I think he would be good in a short format like this. Just get it out.
Yeah, and again, if someone else wrote it, I think it'd be someone like I still would love to see a movie that someone else writes and he just directs. I think he has a really actually a good eye for a lot of things, but then the dialogue kicks in and
it's the dialogue. That's really it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that did Ready or Not.
Is that Radio Silence?
Radio Silence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they'd have a fun episode.
For sure.
And here's a dark horse one. Mel Brooks.
He could do it. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like Behind the Fly. He's done some stuff. I think he can flex.
I'm gonna butcher the name, but the guy that did the crazy cult scene in VHS. Timo Tahanto.
Yeah. Everything he puts out is great. And
seriously,
he would have a lot of fun with that.
Even in VHS 94, that crazy like first person shooter almost.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, me too, because it looked like it was live action Doom. Like it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, what else we got?
All right. That was it from our friends on Slack. We did get a question on a couple questions on Twitter. One from our good friend Whitney at Wibney Please or Oh My Horror on Instagram or on Twitter. I've recently started playing a game called Cult of the Lamb. I named my cult the Children of Void. If you were to make a cult in this game, what would you name it? Jason, what would your cult be? If you had to make a cult.
What was the name of that cult from We Summon the Darkness? Was it Daughters of the Dawn?
You can't steal another cult.
No. I'm saying we could be the Dads of the Dawn.
Okay.
Daddy Dawns.
I mean, you could just gone with Dads from the Crypt. I think you might.
I thought so. I thought that'd be too cute.
Already could be a cult name, right?
Yeah. Jody. What do you got, Jody?
I haven't invested a lot of thinking into cult naming yet. That's a later phase of my
Jody, how many kids do you have now?
That's true. Yeah, Zena, you mentioned you were one of 6. I have 6, so I'm on the other end of that. I guess just the Websters would work, wouldn't it?
The Websters.
I've got enough. There's 8 of us. I mean, I go grocery shopping today.
No, that's funny. When you said you were grocery shopping, like when I grocery shop, it's 20 minutes. I'm in and out the store. I imagine that's like a journey. You have to have snacks ready and ibuprofen in case you're there for like 8 hours and your back starts hurting. You know. Like,
no.
There's a intermission.
I have a very organized wife. I am not an organized person, but I have an organized wife. And so like our shopping list, we use an app and we have it all mapped out. So it's like the path around the store. Like, okay, we go this area for, so yeah, no, I know what I'm doing, but it does take a long time just because it's a bunch of people to feed.
I like the Websters, but I'm probably not going to join that cult.
That's fine. It's pretty exclusive.
The name, I like wouldn't attract me as a person.
Sure.
As a potential follower. Xena.
I mean, anything I could come up with just going to be nerdy outside of that, and so I'd only attract a bunch of weirdos from the internet.
What are we doing? Like here? Like,
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I really like cereal, so I guess we'll be like cereal warriors, and we're just like people who like to watch movies and eat cereal no matter what time it is, because we're adults.
Yes. All right. I'm gonna jump to mine in a second, but I have to ask now. What's your favorite cereal?
Right now, I'm really loving Fruity Pebbles.
Yes, that's mine too. That's exactly what I would have said.
First of all, I love the fact that you said right now, because that means you like cereal so much, like your favorite just changes.
It does. Like, okay, I used to be that boring person that liked Kix. And I know it's like, Kix are for kids.
It's okay.
Yeah, but it's so plain, you know? So it's like, I needed to like spice up my life. And then I used to like Captain Crunch, but it's like what it does to the roof of your mouth is crazy. Yes. And then I even went through a phase where I would just only like Frosted Flakes. But now though, I'm right back at it with Fruity Pebbles. It's just you get enough razzle dazzle.
I like Fruity Pebbles. There's a coffee shop out here called Rural Coffee Company that does a cold brew where they put Fruity Pebbles in it and Fruity Pebbles on top.
Yeah,
And
one of my local coffee shops, they make latte with Fruity Pebbles milk. Like they soak the milk with Fruity Pebbles and then pour it off.
and
good
Captain
stuff.
Crunch, it's not terrible, but it is like gargling with Jacks. Like it's just like why are you doing this? If I'd have called, I would name it after. Actually, I do jujitsu, so I'm in a cult. We're basically, I'd call it Gracie Baja Jiu-Jitsu because they're a fucking cult. And I joke about this, but if you join my gym, you can wear any colors you want. Doesn't matter. No one cares. There, you have to wear a white gi with nothing on, or you have to buy all their merchandise because they're a fucking cult. So any other that wants to try jujitsu, don't do Gracie school, and I will fight all you Gracie people. But I would name it after my favorite band of all time, which is Black Sabbath, and we would be the Children of the Grave.
Nice.
Which is actually a song about how we need to love each other, or else we'll become children of the grave. As much as Black Sabbath got shit for being a satanic band, they're all about that flowers and love shit. They just brought it to you in a darker format.
Well, didn't they used to be like a hippie love band?
What? No, Jason.
They were like, no, they were like a blues.
Yeah, blues is way different.
No, I'm just saying like with like a hippie band.
Yeah, they started off as a band called Earth, and they were a jam band.
There you go.
Which is why, like, if you listen to Paranoid, the record, Paranoid actually is a funny story behind that song because it was like the record company said you need one more song for the album, so they wrote that song in 15 minutes and put it on the album, and it became one of their biggest hits. But like War Pigs is totally anti-war.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of controversial now because they did a song called Fairies Wear Boots, but it's all about Nazis and pieces of shit, skinheads.
I love Paranoid. It's one of my favorite albums.
And but that whole record, like if you listen to Electric Funeral, for instance, or even Iron Man, it's like each song has two distinct parts. One where they're playing the song and one where they decide to jam. And I think it's actually really, really cool.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite albums.
Me too. Definitely.
Yeah, I love when bands need one more song on their album and they just write it really quickly, and that's like their biggest song. Like Beastie Boys Sabotage was like a last minute.
Oh really?
I hear that happen so often that I just assume that if I half-ass things and do them at the last minute, I'm going to get my best work. So that's what happens.
It's funny because there's like an internet thing going around saying my dad's an engineer. I don't know what he does. He goes to the office and comes home. I'm like, yeah, I'm an engineer. Like I sometimes I somehow fill up 8 hours, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure exactly what my job is.
Fair enough.
I do it and they pay me. If you're listening to me, any of my bosses, I work really hard.
He's very skilled.
And then another great question from Twitter. A great question from our friend Palmer Lynch at Palmer Lynch 7. Alrighty then. How do you and your spouses handle situations where your friend's partner is definitely not a cool person? And that's happened to everybody, right? You have that friend and the spouse, you're like,
I know what you're talking about. I love all of my spouse's friends.
Well, I think that the question is more so not spouses, friends. When you have a friend,
so this is
their partner sucks.
We're talking about Cynthia here, right? Because he's friends with Jack, and you have to put up with Cynthia.
So yeah, if you're Jack, what do you do?
Well, can I tell you a funny story that happened about 16 years ago or so? When I was working at their company, a friend of mine, we all hated his wife. His wife was a terrible human being. They're still together, and it sounds like she's done a 180. Fucking fantastic for them, which is good, like for the better. And like to the point where one time I worked at Barnes and Noble, and I was there, and he came and say hi to me, and she was like, "I'm gonna call him Tim. His real name's not Tim. Like Tim, we have to go now. Don't talk to him. We have to go now." I'm like, "Oh, damn, it's pretty shitty." But we worked together, and one time he was kind of drunk at work. Long story, but he goes, "This is why all my friends hate you."
Oh.
It gets worse. She said, "Your friends don't hate me." He says, "Yes, they do." And she goes, "Like who?" And he goes, like Mondo. And I was like, God damn it. She's like, you like me. I was like,
Mm.
Oh
so
man.
that's the wrong way to handle the situation. But in all honesty, I think like, and I'm not gonna. I have those situations in my life now where I have some friends. And I think their spouses kind of suck because they don't treat them very well. They treat them terribly. I'll be honest. And I just kind of did the wrong thing and just passively just let it go to where I just don't talk to their spouses. I unfriended them on Facebook, and I'm just like, dude, like, if you want to come hang out, like, just come hang out. But the other person really isn't welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at this point, I don't want to get in fights. Like, I don't want to get into conflict that I don't
Yeah.
have to get into. And so, yeah, I just kind of avoid that whole situation if I can, and hang out with the person I want to hang out with, and just try not to mix more than I have to.
Yeah, and I do think though it's like there is some importance to being somewhat honest. Like if this friend, who will not be named because he might actually listen to this, asked me why did you unfriend my wife on Facebook, I'd be like, because she's fucking crazy. I can go into more detail, but I'm not going to. But I would be honest about it because, like I say, this is the reason why I just don't get along with your significant other, and I still get along with you. I don't hate them. I just don't want to be around them.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on the situation where if it's like, if this person is doing something to actively harm your person,
Sure.
like if they're gambling their money, doing something illicit behind their back, that's something you want to probably talk to the person about. If they're just not, you just don't like them,
Yeah.
unlikable, that's something you might just have to live with. It's funny, a couple nights ago, I might have taken a couple substances that were edible and watched, a couple of seasons of Seinfeld. And there's this episode where
Jason is doing crack.
yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Where Kramer has a girlfriend that he's going to break up with, and there's this like first person view of him telling her how terrible she is, and then and then a couple of scenes later, he's like begging her to take her back, and Jerry and Lean have to keep saying, "Oh yeah, we loved her." Oh no, she wasn't great. You just have to keep rolling with it.
It's an awkward situation, but like there are certain things that I'm not going to roll with the punches on. And
right.
Like,
well, I mean, there's difference between
yeah.
someone like actively harming somebody,
Well, this person just has thoughts and beliefs that don't align with my thoughts and beliefs in a very negative way. And I don't want to get into politics. We'll just say we're on very opposite ends of the political spectrum, where my friend involved in this relationship just gives no fucks about politics. But I want to be like, dude, your wife is a terrible human being. She's a terrible human being. She wants my people to go back to Mexico. Like, and there are certain things like that I'm just like, dude, like, I'm not condoning them. I'm not dealing with them. Like, she just can't come to my house ever again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
See, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm kind of at a split because my husband and I, we actually did something like where, okay, so basically we were friends with this couple, and just I don't even know. I'm not gonna say any names, obviously.
Yeah.
But one of the people in the relationship, they were not a vibe at all, very negative. Like they would like to take and turn and twist things around. And my husband is very he's the nice one. I'm not so nice, because it's just like, you can't say stuff that's crazy and expect people not to say anything to you, especially when you're in, my house, literally. So, I was very respectful, but it was just kind of like, all right, this person can't come over here anymore if that's how they're going to behave. Whereas like, it was very embarrassing because there were other people who were here and everyone had something to say about this person. But it's unfortunate because the guy, he's really cool. He's a cool guy. It's just his wife is not so much, and at first, I did try to be cool with her. I tried to have some girl time, but it was just honestly like talking to a wall. And at this point, like, if you don't want to give any, you know what I mean? When you're trying to have a
Mhm.
conversation with someone and you can tell that either you're bothering them, like your existence, I'm just breathing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like, okay, then there's no reason for you to be here if you know what I mean? If we're having a conversation, it's very lighthearted, and then you want to come and be negative, where it's kind of embarrassing, very cringe worthy type of, you know, situations that happen that I've seen even with some of my other friends where they'll ask like, hey, who is that? Because she's just ridiculous. That's where,
Right.
so we tried it the first way where it was just like, okay, we're gonna try to only invite him. So maybe if I'm not there, but then I, you know, we'll tell him that I'm not going to be there, or it's not going to be couples. And then, oh yeah, we didn't know this person was coming. But then obviously that just kind of made it seem like we were jerks and stuff like that. And for some reason, she would still show up anyway. So then it's just like, all right, we can't invite him and not invite his significant other. And then we like him, so we didn't want to, you know, just cut him off completely. So now, in a way, we kind of just tolerate her. We take very small doses.
Mhm.
But I mean, I think for me, I'm pretty sure that she knows that I'm not like the biggest fan of hers. Because like I said, she's just the kind of person where she'll try to say something like she's joking, but she's not. You know what I mean? And it's just
That's the worst. That's the
Yeah.
worst.
And we don't have a relationship. So for you to do that, that's just very odd. So I mean, it depends. If you value the relationship, you know, usually, or like the friendship, you do have to like value their significant other
I'll say sometimes on that, only because like
sometimes.
I won't like. So what was the straw that brought the camel's back for me and my friend's significant other was after, not to get political, but I'm talking a little politics. But after the January 6th things happened, and I saw people comparing it to BLM protests, and I said, if you think these are the same things, you're a fucking idiot. And she goes, well, they are. And I was like, just fuck it. I just unfriended her. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just done. I didn't like you before, and I really don't like you.
Mhm.
But I have to ask you, do you ever like go to him and be like, dude, you could do better? Like, you know, like this. Because I'm not gonna lie. I've told my friend, we'll call him. Well, I can't even think of it. I can't think of a name. It's not his name right now.
Tim.
Bring back Tim.
We'll be like Tim. You know, like she sucks and you can do better. I've definitely said that. And also, we were on a road trip back from California. Long story. And all I did was talk shit. I had a lot of liquor in me. I just talked shit to her the entire time and said, like, you know, you could lose him any minute, right? You know, he's like the best person in this relationship and you suck. So I was kind of open on that. But I do think, like you said, there are times you have to condone and be like, all right, so and so's. I'm sure, like, I've been the weird partner in some situations. Where I told my wife, like, your husband's kind of weird. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He just wants to go sit in that corner over there. I'm like, yeah, because I have anxiety and depression. And but I think there's like a difference between having like a spouse's partner or a friend whose partner is just different and one who's just outright sucks.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I think
On
that's
that note.
Wait. We have more questions. We have one.
Oh, we do. Okay,
We
sorry.
have one more.
Okay, good. Let's bring it up to positivity.
This is from Glenn Jacobs, the
Oh.
the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. He says, "Why do I suck so bad?" And Glenn, you're just a piece of shit. So I hope you lose the. I know you just won the election, but I hope you stub your toe on your ottoman tonight.
That was it.
Hey, sorry, Glenn Jacobs sucks. Glenn Jacobs was Kane. You know how much I loved Kane when I was a kid?
Yeah, we're all
Look
Kane
at this
fans.
dude coming out with his black and red mask and choke slamming motherfuckers and making fire shoot from the ring post. And now he's all like, I don't think women should have choices. And I hate minorities. So fuck that guy. For
All
ruining my childhood. He didn't ruin it. He just I wish Undertaker would have thrown him off the Hell in the Cell. Just saying. But he sucks too now.
Okay.
Jason was hoping for positivity, and
Yeah.
I'll say we'll have some real positivity here. And you want to know what? Like, it took us the past couple of weeks have been like the curse on our podcast of trying to get our podcast done. but we've just had 2 really fun guests and 2 really fun episodes in a row, and that makes me really happy. And I'm glad to end what has been 2 very, very difficult work weeks for me. I know Jody's had some rough day work weeks, but to like have these positive moments really make me happy, and I'm happy to be here recording with you guys.
Yeah, this is always a good vibe. Always feel better after this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
and thank you guys so much. This was a lot of fun. I love just even watching just the episode. I had a good time with it, and then this was just like a really fun conversation.
Okay.
And based on your guys' last podcast, one film festival you guys did not mention, which I really think you guys should check out, is the Chattanooga Film Festival.
Yeah, I heard
It's
many
so good.
great things. Yeah.
They've done it online the past couple years, and it has just been so much fun with a lot of great films. But the cool part about the online ones is you can just pick and choose and watch things, and it turns in like we had a lot of fun online times where we're just getting drunk or whatever and watching crazy horror films. So that's a really cool one too. Although Fantastic this year looks insane.
It does.
Terrifier 2. I'm so excited.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Abe.
All right, Xena, where can people follow you?
Sure. So I'm always lurking on Twitter, Lovely Xena, because I'm a lovely person. And then I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, just Real Queen of Horror.
Nice. Thank you so much for joining us. This was a blast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on. We're all fans.
Mhm.
So we're all excited to do this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Well, thank you. Thank you all so much. I mean, that makes me so happy. I imagine you was just like, oh my God, I hate her. Ew, gross.
No.
No, I thought I was gonna have to miss next week, and I was very, very upset because I thought that was the one you're gonna be on. I was like, damn it, no.
All right.
But yeah, feel free to invite me again, or I'll just show up,
Just show up.
Absolutely. You're welcome
seriously,
back anytime.
Yeah, this is all Jason's job, but if there's any episodes especially that you watch that you want to do, like, please let us know, because we love having people on for episodes that they remember, episodes that really kind of hit a nerve with them. So we're getting towards the nitty-gritty. Like, we only have 3 seasons left, guys.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, this has gone by so quick.
I know, that's crazy.
Like, our podcast is over in like a year. Like, I have nothing more to do. So
We'll find something to talk about, I'm sure.
Something.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, please, if you know any episodes you like, or you ever, just let Jason know. Jason will figure it out.
Definitely. Thank you again.
All right. Well, next week we will be reviewing Tales from the Crypt, the movie from 1972. Because we've just wrapped up season 4 or 5?
4. Season 4.
Oh man. So we only have 3 more seasons left. We appreciate everyone for listening. We'd really appreciate it if you would give us a rating and review on iTunes, a rating on Spotify, and check out our Patreon for bonus content. With that, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Adios to everyone, especially Bob Odenkirk. Thank you. Thank you so much for your performance as Saul Goodman, because God damn it, was that one of the best TV series of all time.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.